All right, the visuals we're bringing you right now are of the Indian Air Force that's all set to induct the first batch of indigenously developed light combat helicopters at the Jodhpur Air Force Station today. These are the visuals we're showing you on your screens right now. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, along with the Air Chief Marshal Chaudhari, will be present very much for the launch. The high-tech helicopters have been developed by HAL, that's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. They've undergone various tests already. Now, the LHs helicopters will be able to fly with a speed of about 330 kilometers per hour. They'll be attaining 6,500 meters of rate of climb or service ceilings. We'll go into, in just a few minutes, we'll connect with the reporter and bring you more context. But a total of 15 units have been inducted, out of which 10 will go to the Air Force, while 5 will be handed over to the Indian Army. The 5.8-ton twin-engine helicopters have completed various firing tests and they'll boost the IAF's combat prowess. Now, I want to go over now to my colleague Akash for a lot more context on this story. Akash, if I could ask you to explain to our audiences in layman's terms what it is that's so special about these helicopters, because we just shared with our audiences some of the special features, for example, that they'll attain 6,500 meters of rate of climb or service ceiling. But what does any of that effectively mean? Could you bring us more context?
Yeah, so Toya, you see, first of all, it is India's own and indigenously developed helicopter. So this is the basic feature and this is the reason why it is in news. So today is going to be a historical day because today we are going to formally induct these attack helicopters into Air Force first. Secondly, talking about the features, so light combat helicopters basically are developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And, these helicopters have features like night attack capabilities, crash-worthy landing gears, and many more. Also, these helicopters can be used for search and rescue operations, air-to-air combat, of course. And then it can protect you from the slow-moving aircraft and also the drone attacks. So this is the reason why it is important. Now, talking about this particular occasion, so Indian Air Force is going to raise its first squadron here in Jodhpur. That is the Western Command of Indian Air Force. And, in March itself, Prime Minister Narendra Modi led security, Cabinet Committee for Security approved these procurement. And, we are going to get 15 units of light combat helicopter, out of which 10 will be used by Indian Air Force, as you rightly mentioned in the starting. And also, Indian Army will be using 5 of it. Talking about Indian Air Force officers, so, they are very confident about these light combat helicopters and also they are looking forward for the future upgrades. But talking about this particular event, this is going to be very, very important day because today Indian Air Force is finally going to get its first batch of light combat helicopter. And also, I need to mention that these helicopters can carry a range of missiles and weapons with it. And also, as it is an attack helicopter, so, the maximum speed is very important. So it has a maximum speed of 330 kilometers per hour. And, we have been given to understand that it has the maximum service ceiling of all attack helicopters, which is 6,500 meters. And, this is the reason why just a few months back, we saw that how it landed back in Siachen. So, this helicopter is going to be very, very important for Indian Air Force, and today is the formal induction.
That's exactly, Akash, if you could tell us more about that exact aspect. Currently, obviously, the country constantly faces a joint threat from both China and Pakistan. So if you could tell our audiences where light combat helicopters come in when it comes to battle, which regions they would be particularly relevant to?
Right. So, as I mentioned earlier, the first squadron is going to be raised here in Jodhpur, which is the Western Command. And of course, while we talk about Jodhpur, so strategically, it is very important base, given that we have, the line of control. Also, 2 prototypes of the same helicopters were initially deputed as the actual line of control, which is, of course, the China border. So strategically, the particular squadron is going to be very, very important because first squadron is going to be at Jodhpur, as I mentioned earlier. Also, I want to mention about the service ceiling. So service ceiling is the maximum height that a helicopter can attain, and 6,500 meter service ceiling is the highest of all attack helicopters, and that's the reason why they are calling it the best of all. Also, it is indigenously made, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is constantly stressing upon the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and this is the perfect example of Atmanirbhar Bharat, where after the aircraft, we are going to have the light combat helicopter here in Air Force as well now.
Okay. And Akash, let me just check in to understand if we have more time to ask you more questions for a second here, because I do want to understand from you if you could also bring our audiences more context right now on what the IAF's needs for the future are. I believe most recently one of the statements we had from the IAF was that there was a need for about 42 air squadrons. Currently, they're set to get about only 35 in the next 10 years. So if you could tell us about the larger needs of the IAF and how this plays into it.
So, Toya, you see, talking about Indian Air Force, so, Indian Air Force is constantly getting these procurements to, to strengthen their fleet. And as it is a fact that they are going to phase out the MiG-21 series, so, these aircrafts and these helicopters are going to be very, very important. We have seen that how Indian Air Force has already got Tejas Mark variant, Tejas 1A variant, and also they are looking for future upgrades of Tejas variant, Tejas aircraft. But light combat helicopter, this particular occasion is very important. And, talking about the same committee, that is a cabinet committee for security. So Prime Minister Modi is leading that committee. And when Prime Minister is heading something, so we can actually get the sentiments of all the ministers and all the, members of that particular committee, that how serious they are while it is about the security of the nation. And that's the reason why, while talking about the future aspects, so we are expecting that by 2025 we'll be getting some more upgrades in this particular helicopter, light combat helicopter. And also, I was mentioning the features just a few minutes back. I need to mention this very aspect of this particular helicopter, that it's a multi-role helicopter. Whenever a pilot is taking it for air sortie, so he can have all the feature on his helmet itself. And that's the reason why they are saying that not only it is indigenously developed, but it is the advanced helicopter. It's a lightweighted advanced helicopter, which is an all-weather helicopter, and that can, protect us, that can protect our country from all our enemies, and that can be used for counter-insurgency operations as well. So this is going to be a very, very important day. And while talking about Indian Air Force, so Indian Air Force is getting strengthened day by day because Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself is leading the particular, committee of security.
Okay, Akash, we do, I believe, have time to keep coming back to you to ask you more questions. And I think a part of what makes today so special is that the induction of these aircrafts that we're going to be seeing taking place today are also a big part of the whole Atmanirbhar mission that we've seen the government initiate a few years ago. In that sense, could you bring our audiences more context?
Right. This is not the only helicopter that we have indigenously made. In fact, talking about Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. So Hindustan Aeronautics Limited is a state-owned aerospace company. And, back in 1999, at the time of Kargil, they got this particular need that they need one helicopter that can fly, in mountains, that can be used for attacking purpose for air combat. And that's the reason why in 1999, defense experts suggested that we actually need one helicopter. And back in 2016, they got this sort of approval. But this March month of this year was very crucial when they got note of procurement of 15 units. So just a few days back, we saw that how Indian Army has basically got the unit of this particular helicopter. And, I'll again mention this very fact, Soya, that this helicopter can fly with a speed of 330 kilometers per hour, which is not an ordinary speed for an attack helicopter, and service ceiling of 6,500 meters. Also, this is the first attack helicopter. I'm not sure if I mentioned it this earlier or not, that this was the first attack helicopter that landed at Siachen. And, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, along with Air Chief Marshal Chaudhari, and also recently appointed CDS would be there, talking about the formal program. So by 11 a.m. we are expecting that it will be getting kick-started, and after 11 we are also expecting that Rajnath Singh would be sitting in the particular pit and will be taking the practice sortie in this light combat helicopter. So this day is going to be very, very important day for Indian Air Force, Soya, and it is coming just before the Indian Air Force Day, the particular day that we are going to celebrate in Chandigarh.
Okay.